What is going on, team? Welcome back to GOALAZO here on FSI. I'm Alex Hooper, bringing you some GPP angles for this Saturday's classic soccer slate on DraftKings. Before we get started, of course, please like the video if you like what we do. If you like what we do here, definitely subscribe to FSI, all the great content they bring. Gator, of course, will drop some cash game optimal knowledge later in the day on Friday. So if you're just catching this, make sure to check that out as well. And then leave a comment if we miss anything, or if you had a good day, anything of the like. All right. As you can hear my voice kind of, if you saw any of Gator's midweek videos, he was struggling with his voice. I am also struggling with mine, although it's coming back. We both live here in Tampa, and the weather be changing. So we both got a little sick. So, all right, bringing up the cheat sheet really quick before we get started on this slate. Hopefully you can see it. 2 weeks ago you couldn't. Last week you could. I'm just going to read it off. So the big favorite on the slate, of course, is Chelsea, minus 330 or 366 rather, at home against Burnley. The over with the juice there at 2 3/4. So that's a 3-0 Chelsea or a 2-1 Chelsea. You'd expect out of that game. Burnley plus 1243. The XG on that one. Chelsea the best on the slate with 3.26. Burnley is second worst at 2.08. That said, Chelsea drastically outperforms their XG allowed. Like it's an outlier. I don't know if I still have it pulled up. Yeah, here you go. So Chelsea's they've given up 8.5 fewer goals than their XG says. So that's an outlier. If you look at this table, the standard deviation is not huge. You get 3.7 on the lucky side, 3.3 on the unlucky side, and then Chelsea is minus 8.5. So there's your outlier. Obviously, they're a very good defense. So I'm going to say here that Burnley doesn't have as good a chance to score as Norwich, or has a better chance to score than Norwich, but take that with a grain of salt, because there's obviously something in the sauce with Chelsea. And, we kind of knew that anyway. Brentford home at the Community Stadium, minus 152 against Norwich, who is plus 487. Brentford with a 3.21 XG, just shy of Chelsea. Norwich with the worst on the slate. Like I said, 1.92. Juice on the under, 2.5. That's minus 120. Palace at home, your favorite barely over Wolves, plus 157. Wolves plus 218. About equal chances to score. This one's about as close to a pick'em. It is really, but it's very pick-a-me. It's take your choice, take a chance, and this is going to be a tough one to get. So the over, is it really the over on 2? Yeah, it's just 2 goals. Over on 2, plus or minus 123. Sorry, that was confusing. Minus 123 juice for the over, but the over is 2. So, yeah, 1-1. Brentford Norwich, you're looking at, like a 2-0 Brentford probably. It was probably your highest favored score. Okay. So obviously from that, if you look at the XGs and the way that I look at them, Brentford is kind of the team that I would want to target. They have almost as good a chance to score, as an offense as Chelsea. Norwich is a worse defense than Burnley. Burnley will sit back in that low block and defend. Norwich will try and defend, but they don't do it very well. So I like Brentford here from a GPP standpoint, but there's only 3 games, so it's not like Brentford is going to be super, super owned. So let's look at the slate. In terms of, I usually do a little roster construction here. It's pretty straightforward. Boom. And then I think what you're going to get based on the lineups is a lot of people playing Ziyech, but not necessarily. Ziyech in the Prem has not been very good since coming over from Ajax. When he actually gets time in the midweek, he went off in Champions League. He was Ajax Ziyech again, and I think scored as well. So he went off. Doesn't show up in the game logs here, so might be a sneakier play, but also with Mason Mount out, Ziyech can be on some sets for Chelsea, probably over Chilwell and James. So obviously there's going to be a lot of Chelsea on this slate. Before I get to the players specifically, other than these guys, there's a lot of equity in fading Chelsea, obviously, on this slate from a GPP standpoint. Who you want to fade is a different story. You can always fade Ziyech here and just play James, Chilwell, and Mendy. I think that'll be pretty owned. But I guess let's look at this really quick. Just look at Chelsea's lineup. Pulisic could very easily be Hudson-Odoi, but this is basically what you expect to see here. So you're going to see a lot of Havertz. You're going to see a lot of these guys. You're going to see a lot of the wing backs, and depending on what Jorginho's price is, you might see him too. So I think mainly, and we'll get to it, my favorite fade here is probably Chilwell, and my favorite swap is to Sergio Canos. That said, you can play him, and it barely, that's your average salary anyway, so you can play him here. You can play this and take some cheap forwards, find some goals, and you'll be fine. That's like not a horrible base, and this will probably be my base for cash if we're being totally honest now that I look at it, but I have to put a little more time in there. All right, so let's dive into the players. 3-game slate. So keeper is important, more important at least. It's always important, but it's less variable here, I guess. I don't know if that's the way to put it, but easier to pay up. We'll say that. So as far as forwards go, Tony being the most expensive forward on the slate essentially will dock his ownership a little bit, but like you can see, like it's not going to be hard to get to him, so it's not like he's going to go unowned. He's generally owned anyway, even when Brentford's like a dog, because people know this guy. So I like him a lot, but don't feel like, there's all my leverage is Ivan Toney. Pulisic, if he plays, I would doubt he goes 90 for one. I don't really love it, but he's a Chelsea piece. Jimenez at 8.5. I would take Jimenez at 8.5 and Hwang at 8.1 before I took Traore at 8.4 at this point. Traore is just not doing much. You're going to see plenty of Kai Havertz, 8.2. That's affordable. You can play a midfield spot too. So Rashica at 8. Brentford's not out here allowing a ton of crosses. And I just wonder if Rashica's priced where he should be. So don't love him, don't hate him. But you can probably, when Hudson-Odoi is $100 cheaper, like in cash, you're definitely probably going to want to do that instead. But maybe that makes Rashica a better play. I just talked about it with Tony up top. Maybe this high salary actually suppresses his ownership. But, he's probably got to score. I mean, 23 without assists. But, yeah, it wasn't really doing much otherwise. 16 against Leicester. So, yeah, I don't know. You can play him, but I don't know. It's a 3-game slate, so like you're gonna have to find. There are only a certain amount of combos once you've locked in the rest of your lineup. Obviously, you can make pivots off of these guys, but like it's gonna be harder to like really leverage ownership. So if you pay down, you got to just like find that cheap goal, and then that's how you lap everybody. All right, so the Palace guys, I don't hate. At home, Zaha on the wing, 7.5. It's not like Wolves are great. They were up on Everton, then looked horrible down the stretch. So I have a Wolves anti-bias, so that could have something to do with it. But yeah, I like Zaha here. Emblemo 7.2, definitely going to be owned, but I love him. Would be nice to see Eze back, but he's not supposed to come back. Edouard is supposed to start up front at 6,000. Jeez, easy play. McNeil's an okay floor play, but it's Chelsea, so it's not like he's going to be bombing the ball at 10. Cornet still cheap, 5'9". Feel free to play him. I won't. Zolis, I don't believe is scheduled to start. Ayu, if he stays on the right wing for Palace, 5'7". You know, like I like these guys a lot. I like Edward, I like Ayu, and I like Zaha. That whole front, you know, you can play 2 of them really, and then play the rest of this, and you're gonna be all right. Podence, if he played for Wolves, I'd be happy. He subbed at the midweek. Maybe, you know, there's room for him over Trincao if, you know, they need to rotate a little bit with 2 games in 1 week, but they're not in Europe, so it doesn't really matter. Excuse me. Gatto scored last week, I believe. But I skipped Timu Pukki, 5'3". It's Brentford. It's not like, you know, you're paying 5'3" for like 1 goal is perfectly fine at that price. That's like a crappy midfielder price. So Pukki is going to make so many lineups work, and he'll be owned, but doesn't matter. Just play him. Play him a few times. For once, I don't like Chris Wood. Not here. He'll probably find a way to score against Chelsea. Josh Sargent is supposed to start with Pukki. You could play him. You could play him together. Probably get a lot of leverage, and maybe he finally scores, but he is not good. I don't know how much Josh Sargent you've watched, but he ain't it. He's just bad. I hope he becomes good, but he's not yet. Vidra again, like meh. All these dudes really. Ashley Barnes at 3.7. And Jay Rodriguez and Goodmanson. Feel free. But yeah, that'll get you a lot of leverage. If they score, you're going to have like a sub 1% own goal. All right, now my voice is betraying me. Okay. Mason Mount for midfielder only eligible players. Mount 10,000. He is sick, but he returned to training. He could play. If he does play, he's kind of a lock and load. $2,600 more expensive than Ziyech, so obviously it doesn't help you with a lot. All right, Conor Gallagher at 9-1. I like the least of those Palace guys, but I'll probably sprinkle him in here and there because, you know, it's a 3-game slate and there's not going to be that many goals if he does get 1, or if he assists 2 or something like that. You're going to need him. You're going to want him. So I don't like it, but we'll get there. Barkley if he plays. All right, so Jorginho at 6'4", like, yeah, you can play him. You can play all these guys. Like, it's tough. I think more of the strategy I can give you is like to fade some of these Chelsea dudes. Like, if you want actual strategy in terms of your build, which is how you should be strategizing anyway. It's a matter of who you fade. So, you know, like play Chris Wood and not Mendy, or, you know, McNeil and not Mendy, or, you know, fade Chilwell or James for Canos. I wouldn't fade them both. Something like that. Like your equity, your differential here is going to be on fading Chelsea, and then any cheap goals that come across, like if Dowell scores or something like that. That's the real strategy here. So sorry if I'm just saying like, yeah, you can play him, because you can play anyone here. Play whoever you want, as the wise sage says. Just know that when I'm saying some of these things, I mean, like, know what you're playing and know where the leverage points are. Know what you're leveraging against. Play Jorginho, don't play Nick Pope. Stuff like that. Sorry for the cough. Voice is going on me, so I'm going to try and motor through here. All right. Dowell, I just mentioned, should start for Norwich. Yeah, if he's on a wing there, like, that price is fine. Not going to be owned. I think Norwich, as much as I like Brentford here, I think Norwich is going to be the sneaky play because they can bag a goal. It's just they suck on defense. Love Loftus-Cheek if he starts. Jensen, on the sets for Brentford. So at 5.9, like that's probably a layup of cash play. Just another guy in cash I'm telling you to play. I'm just going to build my cash lineup as soon as I stop this video because I think I have a pretty good idea of how it's going to go. Trink out 5.6. I like that play a lot. He's involved. I just remembered another cash play. I wish you could play 4 defenders. Can I play a 5 at the back? Because I got about 5 I want to play here. I digress. Norman, great when he's on for Norwich. If he's on at 5.5, fantastic price. Neves at 5.4 is a threat to score. Takes some frees, but I don't like him as much as some of these guys in this area. One of them being Elise. If he does start on a wing at 5.3, cheap goal potential all over it. Westwood, I don't like as much at 5. Martinez's a cash play per usual. Billy Gilmore is too expensive. Chanel, Shup. These guys are all kind of yuck. Lees Malou might start. He's always a whatever play. Onyeka. It's a punt. Milicevic at 38. Still could take sets for Palace. So not the worst play in the world if you need a punt, which I don't think you're going to need on this slate. Brownhill. Yeah, whatever. This range sucks. If they play, they're cheap. Here's my answer. All right. Defender. If Alonso starts, you get some salary relief. Congrats, you're playing him. Canos at 5.5. Love it. Honestly, I said I would play him in cash. I would probably play Ait Nori in cash because he actually took corners. He split corners with Coutinho last game for Wolves against Everton. So I think there's a floor here. But Canos has got the upside. I don't know. Yeah, Canos, he still crosses the ball. Yeah, whatever. I'll play Canos. I like him more. I like Brentford. Take it back. I'll play Brentford. But I would love to see. Okay, so there's a GPP situation for you. Fade Chilwell, play Canos, and Ait Nori. Congrats. There's a GPP tip. Straight from the horse's mouth. Smato's fine. Taylor, yuck. Here. Any of these pay up guys I actually like. I love Tyrick Mitchell, a player. Don't love him given the opportunity cost of defender. Like you're passing on some other studs here to play him. And that's kind of the case for all these dudes. Like pay up or pay down to a Chelsea center back, which you're paying up a little bit anyway, but the slate kind of affords you that salary. And then otherwise, if you're going to play a center back, play a Burnley guy or play whoever correlates with your keeper. Speaking of which, all right. Mendy at 5.9, like that's a goal. Like Burnley's not, there's a really good chance. I don't have the RotoWire cheat sheet, which tells me the exact odds of what the clean sheet are, but I would guess they're over 50%. So that's 50% of a goals upside for Mendy. That's, more than Canos, who you're playing for a floor and, less than 12 points. 5.9 will get you Jensen, Loftus Cheek. I'll get you Cornet. But, I like Mendy more than I like McNeil or Dowell or Cornet or Podence. Maybe not Trincao. And at forward, 5.9 will get you, won't even get you Edward. So it'll get you Edward Mendy. And it feels like a pretty easy plug and play, especially with the salaries rather on this lineup. Like the pricing is soft for the amount of games and the guys on the slate. But like if Mason Mount dominates, then you're going to need him, sort of thing. So that said, Mendy's going to be very owned. And if they do concede and Brentford does not, you're going to get so much ownership leverage by dropping down to Fernandez. So I'm going to say, like in GPP, for every Mendy lineup you make, you might just want to make a Fernandez lineup. Just like swap them out. Maybe not the best strategy because, you still may only get 12 points. But that's what I might do. I don't love this mid-range just because I think this will be like at least 1-1. I don't think they're going to pepper each other with shots. They're not exactly those kind of players. And then you can pay down to the opposite side of those other games. Do you think Chelsea takes a lot of shots and they get saved, like happens in all of their FA Cup and one-sided Champions League games? Then play Pope, and all of a sudden you have all the salary in the world to play with. That's the strategy there. Not really a ton going in. So either if you think, I don't know, for every Mendy lineup you make a Pope lineup and spend up somewhere else. How about that? All right, my voice is going on me. Sorry if I didn't give you too much specific information here, but like what it comes down to is on a 3-game slate, we could get 4 goals on this entire slate. We could get 7, we could get 8. But it's all going to be about finding some of the cheap guys, catching as much Chelsea floor as they provide. I'm losing my voice. Yeah, so get as much Chelsea floor as you can in GPP. Like, unless you're fading Chilwell or James, I would just play those wing backs just because there's not a ton here, and I doubt you're going to need more than one other defender. That's my bold pick. Only one other defender scores a goal on the slate other than the Chelsea wingbacks. Bold take of the week. So there you go. I'm going to get out of here. I'll talk to y'all on Sunday for Tilt City. If you have any questions that I didn't answer and couldn't because I'm dying, leave them in the comments, and like, subscribe, all that. Thanks for tuning in to GOALAZO, and I will catch you later this weekend.